Hi folks, Paula MacLean here again with the Leading Edge video blog post for this Thursday. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can attract more people to your job postings, to your ads that you run by writing better ads and by putting postings together that make a really positive impact on potential candidates for the positions that you have vacant inside your organization. In another post, I'm going to talk a little bit about employee referral programs and a variety of other tools to increase the volume of people. So I want to talk a little bit about the problem that we have. First of all, we generally have a shortage of skilled people to fill vacancies in our sector. So that's been an ongoing issue, and some of that is related to the fact that we don't pay real well compared to some other sectors. But frankly, we just have too few people to fill the number of positions. Our sector across North America has been growing by leaps and bounds. There are very few organizations that haven't gotten bigger over the last anywhere from 5 to 10 years or even more. And so we're on a growth path. The demand for our services in many organizations has been growing, and the agencies have grown to meet that kind of demand. And funders, public funders, even private funders, organizations that are private that support our sector have also grown their revenue and are growing their ability to pay for some of the services that we are more than willing to provide that our communities need. So we really are on a path of growth, both organizationally and sector-wise, and it really complicates the labor shortage for us. The other part of this is that we have a response rate to our job ads, to our postings for jobs, that is pretty low. And so there was a time, and I'm going to date myself a little bit here, but there was a time when we would receive 15, 20 applications for even our most simple direct service positions, and that time is long gone. So if we get 4 or 5 applications for a position and can interview maybe 1 or 2 people, we think that we're doing pretty well. So we have a low level of responses. And then finally, we have a low level of quality of applicants. So, if we're lucky enough to get 5 applicants, and we sometimes only have 1 or 2 that even come close to having the skills and the expectations for the standards that will be set by the position and the requirements that the position has for responsibility inside our organization. So we have a multiple kind of things that are happening. They're all kind of colliding in the process of putting postings out and trying to get good quality people. So I'm going to tell you a few things and this is a complex issue, so I don't want to oversimplify it, but I'm going to tell you a few things that you can do. And one of the things is that we can improve the postings and what they look like and what we're seeing in those postings. So one of the solutions we have, and our goal is to increase the number of people, to increase the quality of the people that we have, and the quality of person that we actually end up hiring. So, we really want to see that happen. So one of the things we can do is to change the way we are doing the very first thing in recruitment, which is letting the world know that we have a position vacant. Now, most not-for-profits that I know have done a pretty good job of being able to source all of the free places in their communities, and I'm talking about Kijiji and Craigslist and job boards and a variety of other things. There's a fair number of free websites, and there's some membership-driven websites. You might belong to an association of organizations provincially or statewide, and those organizations together often have a website that allow you to post your position. So we've gotten pretty good at doing this. We're not relying excessively on print media, newspapers, etc., as we have before. And there are a number of big websites like Monster, Charity Village in Canada, a variety of different organizations that kind of specialize in getting those postings up, and they charge you a fee, but the fee for the most part is not all that high. So the distribution network, you can challenge yourself to make sure you're covering all your bases. But I want to tell you that when I look at those ads, mainly online, when I look at the postings online, they are not something that I think attracts people to them. So let me just talk for a second then about, I did a quick review. I looked at about 5 different job postings. I went to 3 or 4 different websites to do that. I looked at them only from the not-for-profit sector. So my analysis of that is this. First of all, the ads are way too text heavy. They're too dense. They have no white space in them. And they look, for the most part, like someone has cut and pasted a job description. So they have a really heavy emphasis on things like a description of the agency. They have a heavy emphasis on things like what the candidate must, or the applicant must have. have. You must have these qualifications. You must have this thing. You must have, right? So there's a long list of musts, and very often that list is either in paragraph form or it's in a really, really long bulleted list. And about 3 points into the list, the person completely stops reading. Now, the other interesting thing is some of those musts are really not musts at all. Some of the things that are on that list are actually base training that the employer provides. So, for example, very often in our sector to see must have first aid CPR. And yet I don't think I know a client agency of mine that's a not-for-profit that doesn't provide training into first aid and CPR. They either outsource it to outside trainers or they provide it in-house. So why is it on the criteria list? Because the reality is if you had the right person for the position in all other ways, you are prepared to send them off to the base training that is needed. But it's often listed as a criteria to even apply for the position. So we have to watch out for some of those things. Now, all of the ads that I looked at a high level of technical language, bureaucratic phrasing, headings that were, language that is only used by senior managers, and that the vast majority of people who are applying, especially for direct service positions, is just a fish right over the head. Means nothing to them, right? I even saw one that made reference to the logic model, right? And you think, why is that there? Like, I know logic model is important to us right now. It will change over time, but we don't need to put that in a job ad. If we need someone to know the logic model, we can either teach it to them or we can ask them about it in the interview if they've had any experience with it. But if we start creating this list and we're the masters of our own low response rate, it would take someone with a PhD in rocket science to apply for some of the positions if you actually look at the listing and how the expectations are laid out. Very often there is no advertised salary range. Now, you don't know exactly what you're going to pay the person, but 99% of nonprofit organizations have salary ranges. And just like I would never call a real estate agent on a house that doesn't have a price on it, I would never apply for a job that does not have a wage range either per hour or per month, and some basic descriptions of the benefits that are available. Right? So this says we have something to hide. Well, you know what, folks? We might not be overly proud of what we're paying. We are paying a lot better than some other sectors now, and we're paying way better than we did a few years ago. But the reality is if we have something to hide, that's like a runaway queue for anybody that is looking to apply for positions inside the sector. So put your ranges down, okay? And also say that exact compensation will be negotiated and will be commensurate with, use a simpler word if you can find one, based on experience and education of the person who succeeds in the job. So a range is fine. You don't need a specific number, but from this dollar per hour to this dollar per hour per month or per year, any of that is fine. But let's not kind of bury this. And some people will assume that it's a minimum wage job, and in fact it's not a minimum wage job. It might in fact pay better than that, substantially better than that. Our benefits are not corporate benefits, but we do have them, and there's no reason why, again, in a little point form list, that we can't add that. And very often the posting is really, really long, and it might take 3 or 4 scrolls down for the person to read the whole thing. By that time, they're ready for a cup of coffee and maybe a nap. So what we're really wanting to do here is we want to make sure that when we do this, that we create a posting that looks better. So let me go through quickly some of the things that you can do. First of all, get a headline that grabs attention. I have 2 clients who are using this one. Life is short, work someplace great. So something that grabs them, a mission that really captures them, the name of your organization at the very least, a logo so that they see that you're contemporary and upbeat and interested in really attracting good people. Use bullets, not dense sections of written sentences, so a bulleted list, and keep your list short. Give what is most important to the candidate first. And that is not a big paragraph of description of your organization and all of its services and all of its bureaucracies and all of its niceness and all of its. Get that out of there. If you're going to have it, put it way down on your list and put it in a short few bullets. This is the programs, this is our mission, these are the things that we really believe in. All of that's fine, but it's not the most critical thing for people when they're looking for a job. The next thing is that emphasize what you will give as an employer to the individual. We call this give back. We expect that the employee will give us things, their skill, their time, their energy, their intelligence, their experience, their training. We expect those things of them, but don't just have, a page of the things that you demand of your employees. Ask yourself, what does this person want back from us? What are the things that we have to contribute? And things that I see in good job ads are things like a fun team, a challenging work environment, the ability to make a difference, a sense of belonging, great training, positive environment, flexibility, benefits, working conditions, etc. All of those are fine. Again, keep them short, keep them bulleted. Next thing is that we want to make sure that we have a critical list of skills and qualifications, not the max list that goes on for 20 bullets. I actually counted 22 bullets in one ad, and I didn't pick these ads because they were bad. I just looked on websites and saw, I'll pick this ad. This is an interesting position. 22 bullets under the qualifications that are expected. So watch out, keep that short. Make sure it's the essential skills that you're looking for, and not just the whole comprehensive, everything but the kitchen sink list. And then finally, make sure you list every posting to your website. Every one of you, most organizations, 99.9% have a website. Even if it's plain Jane, it at least says something about your organization, what it is, where the programs are, what kinds of services you offer. Make sure that you put a URL, a link in, so that the person can click it and read more. And rather than putting a whole 3 pages of text, put your key highlights for your position in, and then link them back to your website to a full posting, so that if they want to read more, they can read the whole thing. Quotes from employees are awesome to add to that, so that anything that employees have said about you, make them real, make them not fakey. But if there's things that employees have said that are positive, if things that clients have said, people that you serve have said, by all means, put 1 or 2 of them in there. You want an email address for a contact person and a phone number if that works for you. Remember, you're only getting 5 applications, so it's not a big deal to take 5 phone calls, and you'll probably only get 1. So email information back, conversation back and forth. Sometimes people are curious about certain things, and to be able to contact the organization and ask those questions is important. You want an online application process. Now, this might take a little technical time, but it's not all that big a deal. At the very least, you need to invite someone to send their resume as an email attachment. So if you don't have an online application form on your website, then at least give them an email address and say, please attach your resume. So this makes it quick and easy, and it also will make it appealing to younger generation folks who we want to attract and bring into our service sector. And then if you have screened people out, let them know immediately by email. One of the things that I still see is this line at the bottom of the of the posting that says something like, "We thank all applicants, but only those chosen for an interview will be contacted." Right? Well, you're only going to get 5. And maybe if you get 20, then you can put that back in there. But take it out, right? And make personal contact. It's good public relations for you as a community organization. Take out that line and just simply say, our procedure internally will be to contact every person who's applied. And you send them a note, and I'll just give you a sample wording. Thank you for taking the time to apply for this position. We've reviewed your qualifications, and unfortunately we will not be granting you an interview at this time. Thank you for your interest in our agency. We wish you well in your search and in your future career. This is good for public relations. It says you've not been successful, and as soon as you screen people out, if you're absolutely certain they will not be interviewed because they just don't have what you're looking for, send them a polite note that tells them where their application is at. It's positive for you. It's a good strategy, and it says I'm not going to keep a whole bunch of people on hold while it takes us 2 or 3 or 4 weeks to be interviewing, when this pile of people that we've received applications for aren't even in the running. So it's simple, it's direct, and it's good public relations. Now, I'm going to include with this video a slide that actually shows you a sample job description from a client agency of mine that was retooled. And what you'll see in that is that, first of all, it says how you'll contribute. Not what you must do and what your qualifications are, but how will you contribute. People are attracted to this sector and attracted to your organizations because of a sense of a potential to contribute. So it gives 3 bullet points on how you contribute. contributed. And then it talks a little bit about the diversity of the position and the challenges of the position. And then the next section is, what will we offer you? And it has 4 bullets on what we'll offer you that says, this is the reason that you should be attracted to us as an employer. And then it says, okay, here are the things that you'll need to be able to be able to do or have in order to be able to get an interview with us. And you'll see that that one is just 6 or so points long as well. So this is a wonderful retool. It's got some graphical interest. I've removed the actual logo that was at the top left-hand corner. It's got a cool little thing, a little saying, a little quotation that's been drawn from probably the internet, and it's a really much better kind of ad. Now, this organization has been working on retooling its ads. I've been supporting that process, and we're in the process of doing some data collection to see what happens with the number of applications that we get that are coming from the new approach to advertising. And these are not print ads. They're done largely online, and they do connect to the website of this organization. And we're going to track whether or not this is going to generate more interest and a better response rate. So far, the initial results on the first 3 or 4 positions are looking really good. So that's the end of today's blog post, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about attracting applicants in future blog posts. And until then, my name is Paula MacLean. I'm your leadership coach. All the best.